It's not food, it's violence. All the animals wanted to live. It's not food, it's violence. Choose something else instead.
Hello students! Welcome back to class. Today we're looking at part 2 of a really interesting video which was created by somebody named Peace with Reese. You see him over there, his name? I suggest that you subscribe to his channel. It's pretty interesting what he's done here. A lot of really good research into what's going on with PETA, which stands for People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. And what we've learned so far is that there's a lot of mean people out there who are saying bad things about PETA, and that PETA is actually a great organization trying to save as many animals as possible. So, let's go and watch part 2. You guys ready?
Run, run, run from humans. They're trying to stab you. They're trying to murder you, to call you bacon and burn you in a frying pan.
Before we begin, let's look at the mission statement that PETA has stated. PETA opposes speciesism, a human supremacist worldview, and focuses its attention on the 4 areas in which the largest number of animals suffer the most intensely for the longest periods of time: in laboratories, in the food industry, in the clothing trade, and in the entertainment business. So this is where we last left off in the video, where we discovered that PETA had to euthanize many animals who were suffering greatly when there was no other choice, no other way to save them. Animals who had been neglected and abused and just dumped on their doorsteps. So let's continue here to watch this video.
They can offer them is a painless release. They also don't charge the owners or guardians for any of this. But why is there such a high kill percentage? You would think that a fair amount of animals are adoptable, and surely a huge organisation like PETA could afford to house them while they look for homes. Well, PETA claims that the majority of adoptable dogs are never brought through their doors. Instead, they refer them to local adoption groups and walk-in animal shelters. They finish by saying that as long as companion animals are still deliberately bred, and people aren't spaying and neutering their dogs and cats, open admission animal shelters and organisations like PETA must do society's dirty work.
It's unfortunate, but that's what's happened. Is so many of the other places are taking the animals that are adoptable, but these ones, because they are so sick, have no ability to be adopted, and PETA gets stuck with the dirty work, as they say.
Their explanation seems reasonable. But of course any organisation would talk about itself in a favourable manner. So then why doesn't a website like PETAkillsanimals.com not even mention this reasoning, even if to debunk it? In this section titled PETA's Lame Defence, where I would expect to find something like this, they just mention that PETA claims it does not run a traditional animal shelter, and that it puts down animals that are too sick or injured to carry on. They're seemingly saying this to imply that PETA is lying, but as far as we've seen, this is more or less accurate. Although PETA themselves also say that they are willing to euthanize elderly, dying, aggressive, or otherwise unadoptable animals. So why would PETAkillsanimals.com omit this?
Always follow the money. Try to figure out a reason why they would lie. How are they going to make money by lying?
The website goes on to talk about a 2007 case where 2 PETA employees were tried for animal cruelty and littering after dumping dead cats and dogs in a dumpster. Supposedly, witnesses at the trial testified that PETA told them that they shouldn't have a problem at all finding homes for the dogs left in their care. Other North Carolina shelter personnel testified that they were under the impression that PETA would find homes for the animals they handed over. PETA Kills Animals finishes by saying that PETA has never backed up its claim with any evidence to suggest that it only takes in injured or otherwise unadoptable dogs and cats. But PETA doesn't claim this. Again, on PETA's own website, they claim to euthanize elderly, sick, injured, dying, aggressive, or otherwise unadoptable animals. So why is PETAkillsanimals.com not including all the facts? Anyone can see that they're relevant. And why did they not link any sources for this court case, when they did include news sources for the Chihuahua incident? Perhaps it's because they were found not guilty, and all I needed to do was type 5 words into Google to find that out. In this case, prosecutors failed to prove malice, although the PETA employees did receive a littering charge. So far, everything that PETAkillsanimals.com has claimed has been misrepresented. So what is their motivation? The answer to that is the biggest twist of all. So, who runs PETAkillsanimals.com? According to their contact section, they are run by the Center of Consumer Freedom, a name that we've actually heard before. They're the organization who petitioned Virginia's Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services to reclassify PETA as a slaughterhouse. That's interesting, right? They describe themselves as a non-profit organization dedicated to protecting the full range of choices that American consumers currently enjoy. In addition to malicious animal rights activists, we stand up to the food police, environmental scaremongers, neo-prohibitionists, meddling bureaucrats, and other self-anointed saints who claim to know what's best for you. But, as I said earlier, any organization would talk about itself in a favorable manner. So here's what I managed to dig up. The Center for Consumer Freedom, now called the Center of Organizational Research and Education, is an American non-profit that describes itself as dedicated to protecting consumer choices and promoting common sense. Aside from PETA, the organization has been critical of organizations including the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention,
That's interesting. Why would they be against them?
Center for Science in the Public Interest,
Why would they be against the Center for Science in the Public Interest?
Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
Why would they be against mothers against drunk drivers? Do these people want to drink and drive?
The Humane Society of the United States, and the Physicians Committee for Responsible.
The Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine is a group of doctors who are trying very hard to tell the truth about what people need to know regarding their health, and they also are there for responsible medicine. That is to say that they want to make sure that people are aware that there are ethical decisions every time that they consume food. So, what is this other group here? Is this a group of people who also are fighting for the rights of people to pay for the rape, torture, confinement, and murder of innocent animals? Is that why they don't like PETA?
Run, run, run from humans. They're trying to stab you. They're trying to murder you, to call you bacon and burn you in a frying pan.
But the Center for Organizational Research and Education, or CORE as I'm going to call it from now on, isn't exempt from criticism itself. CORE was originally founded as the Guest Choice Network, which found its initial funding from the Philip Morris Tobacco Company to fight smoking limitations in restaurants. We can actually confirm this via leaked communications, such as this initial solicitation for $600,000, in which Richard Berman, the founder of CORE, or Guest Choice, talks about campaigning to defend customers and marketing programs from so-called attacks on anti-smoking, anti-drinking, and anti-meat activists.
Anti-smoking, anti-drinking, and anti-meat eating activists. Wow.
This responding letter confirms the $600,000 pledge. And in this follow-up leaked fax, Berman talks about how their original campaign, the accommodation program, was being perceived as a pro-smoking program, because it was, but they didn't want that to be transparent. Berman continues that the name Guest Choice can be established as a program, but positioned as a consumer philosophy. The organization has grown a lot since then, and now receives funding
Funding from who?
from further tobacco-related companies such as Davidoff and Altria. Aside from campaigning for
Wow.
so-called smokers' rights, they also receive funding from Alliance Gaming and Haraz to protect gambling.
So this group of people who are against PETA are for all kinds of things that are not good for us. Gambling, it's not exactly good for us. Drinking and driving, it's not exactly good for us. And smoking cigarettes in public places like restaurants, it's not exactly good for us.
Companies like Coca-Cola and Wendy's are also donors, which might explain why they aggressively downplay the American obesity epidemic with their website,
Oh my goodness.
obesitymyths.com.
Follow the money.
Alcohol producers like Anheuser-Busch also provide funding, which might be why Core run a Drink Responsibly, Drive Responsibly campaign. This is literally their own website. They actively defend drinking and driving. Just quickly, I want to show you a quote from this page. Some anti-alcohol activists are seeking increasingly harsh restrictions on social drinkers. This can be evidenced in many ways. Increased use of roadblocks, the push for wider use of ignition interlock devices, and ever lower blood alcohol content arrest thresholds. But the most insidious... but the most
Reese, did you just laugh there?
insidious tactic to come out of the neo-prohibitionist camp is the transition from the common sense "don't drive drunk" message to the similar sounding but entirely different "don't drink and drive" slogan. Berman has even argued against Mothers Against Drunk Driving, which began as a response to a drunk driver killing the founder's daughter. But let's get back to PETA and PETAkillsanimals.com. In 2002, spokesman John Doyle publicly listed Core's enemies as just about every consumer and environmental group, chef, legislator or doctor who raises objections to things like pesticide use, genetic engineering of crops, or antibiotic use in beef and poultry. Now, I looked into some of the companies that fund Core to see who might be responsible for funding the attack against veganism and animal rights. These are the ones I was able to find.
Wow. All kinds of companies. A lot of people don't like vegans. Outback, Wendy's, all kinds of different restaurants here. So this is why they want to attack PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. Wow, I don't know all of these. A lot of these, I guess, are American. Tyson Foods definitely is a meat company. Wow. Good work, Reese. Very good detective work.
And if you think that's a lot, remember that Core is technically a non-profit, which means that they don't have to disclose any of their donors.
Wow.
Berman even acknowledges this at his talk to the Western Energy Alliance, which was recorded and leaked to the New York Times.
We run all of this stuff through nonprofit organizations that are insulated from having to disclose donors. There's total anonymity. People don't know who's...
All he cares about is money, and he's lying to people about what he's doing.
Supports us. We've been doing this for 20-something years in this regard. And to the degree that anybody is concerned about that, I will tell you that there's all sorts of ways, all sorts of firewalls that have been established to get this.
Vegan phobia is real. There are some really cruel people out there who will do anything to try to stop veganism. But thankfully, there are a lot of good people out there also. People like Reese, who made this video. I hope you follow his channel. It's called Peace with Reese.
On a anonymous.
So who knows how many donors there are, and how much money there actually is? Interestingly, Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, which is a watchdog group, alleged that Berman funneled nearly $2 million from Core from 1999 to 2004. That was 17 years ago.
Wow.
So who knows how much higher that number really is. So, can we trust Core? And can we trust PETAkillsanimals.com? I'm not going to tell you what to think, but
You pretty much told us what you think, Reese. Anyway, thank you so much for this. My takeaway from all of this is that PETA is a good organization and that we should continue to support their work. They're trying really hard to stick to their mission statement about not hurting animals and by ending their exploitation. They're simply encouraging people not to eat, wear, or use them. And it is so easy to be vegan. So thanks everybody for watching. Really appreciate you being here. Coming up on screen are going to be a bunch of other videos. Please click on them. Be curious, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye for now.
Let's follow that vegan teacher on YouTube right now. Let's help her say